Hello.
Hello. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I'm so excited for this presentation. So welcome. This is Modeling Quality Engagement Expectations, and I'm super excited to be presenting here with Becky. This presentation actually came about, we gave this presentation at a conference here in California, and after giving that presentation at the conference and talking about it with other people in Global, people kept saying, we want you to present here, please present it. So really the whole point of this presentation was that we continued in our own roles that we'll talk about soon enough, seeing people giving presentations, hosting meetings, and what we are hoping to help people do that either are the leaders in those meetings or teachers in a classroom is that you model the expectations for teachers and then for students. So that what we're going to show you today is the way to conduct a meeting that would model the expectations for your staff that then would display what would happen in a classroom. And so it can be applied anywhere. I agree, Becky's hair does look amazing.
Thank you.
No problem. The bit.ly is there, so you can go to Global GEG-MQE for Modeling Quality Expectations or Modeling Quality Engagement, and that's how you can access that one.
And I just covered it up, but
yeah, you did. It's okay. It's all right. So I'm Stephanie Rothstein. If we haven't met, hello, it is wonderful to meet you. My role is I am one of the founders here at Global. I'm in EdTech TOSA, a teacher on special assignment, and I lead a design thinking pathway. I chair that at my school. So I work in a dual role, both being in the classroom and supporting people at the district level. And in that, I end up hosting a lot of meetings myself. So this topic applies very deeply to me. I'm at the high school level, and I'm super excited that Becky is not, so that we're covering from a variety of viewpoints. Take it away, Becky.
Yes, and I'm Becky Calling. Super excited to be here with all of you. I'm an instructional coach in Newhall School District, which is in Southern California. We're still 100% virtual. I am the ed tech coach for the district. That role kind of came about right before COVID. And so I've been supporting not only teachers, but principal, admin, all of that, and their integration of technology at the elementary level. All right, let's jump in.
Let's do it.
So we're going to break this up the same way that you would break up a meeting, right? And obviously every meeting is going to be a little bit different, but a meeting, just like a classroom lesson, starts with building connections, some type of intro. And we have examples throughout that you can take right away and utilize either in your classroom, in your meetings, in your lessons, however you need to. So definitely access the slide deck with the bit.ly, and we'll put it up again at the end. But this beginning part really is about building those connections, building relationships with students, with teachers, getting to know each other in a few brief minutes at the beginning of every meeting.
Awesome. Okay, so I added this one. I was super excited. And this is from my student teacher, Stephanie Todd. She has been leading amazing introductions for students. She's doing a fabulous job and is like a seasoned pro in her intro year of student teaching. So that is, if you're not familiar with that term, it's a term that we use here. They also call them teacher candidates. So she's earning her teaching credential right now. And this one, we thought it would be fun for you to do. She just did this with students today. And so this is linked here in the slide presentation. But this one is on, it is called, let me read it for you since it's far away, and then we'll put it in the chat. But in the chat, what is something that you are proud to have in your home or wherever else you are coming in if you're remote learning? So what would be something that you would, if we had cameras on, if we were together, or if cameras were off and you were just typing it, what would it be that you would want to share or showcase? What is something that you're proud to have? And in talking through this idea, Becky shared something with me in our little pre-chat about why she thought this would be really a great, even the way that the wording was of the question. Did you want to talk about that a little bit, Becky?
Yeah, definitely. So coming from an elementary perspective, hearing the word proud and understanding what does it mean to be proud of something, because our typical show and tells are like, what's the cool new toy that you got? they're fun and exciting. Like, I love my new pencils that I got, but am I really proud of them? Not so much. And so diving into something that you're proud of just takes it to the next level. You have to actually think about it. And for our students to take a few moments, and for teachers, take a few moments. What's something around you you are genuinely proud of? You're diving in just a little bit deeper than show and tell. Show me something cute that you got from the store. So
I love it. And so what is linked, there are so many that she put in for this presentation that Becky's going to show you. I only gave 5, but I'm happy to keep adding more. I don't know if I did 5 or 6, but hers have been amazing. And she just keeps adding different ones each day. So I'll keep adding to this intro slide deck and giving her credit. I'll make sure I put her name on it, but you're welcome to use these. She did this one. We did this one on Tuesday, and the students loved it, asking, like, what are they a fan of? And then asking who their favorite superhero was. The next one she recently did was asking about their favorite music decade. And kids got really into talking about their favorite music. And then she did one on, if you could live anywhere in the world, where would you go?
Before you move on, and I know we weren't going to spend this much time on this, I love this slide because she did not add the names of the continents, the names of the countries. Like, you have to think about it. I'm just not going to place myself somewhere and hope that I'm right. So I really liked this slide a lot.
I loved it too. She did this one that I thought would be a fun one for a meeting, and you could spice it up, no pun intended, or maybe pun intended, depending on whatever season it was. She was asking about their favorite drink, their favorite seasonal beverage. So that one was really fun. I could see that working quite well with adults as well as students, depending on the age, and then maybe replace what it is or a particular food. And then there's another one that was specific for Halloween that was super fun. That's in there as well, just because when we come back to there, if you need something, that one's really fun. So she's been doing an amazing job, and I wanted to give her a shout out. I'm sure she's working on presentations for Friday right now, but she's been doing a different one every single day, whether they be things that we draw or discuss. And I think the idea of things that are easy access that help us connect is really what we're talking about in this section, a way to begin in a way that helps people feel comfortable to then share for the rest of the meeting. But it isn't just like this thing that you throw away, right? It's information that you hope to use in building connections with your staff members, with your students as you move forward in the year.
And just looking at some of the comments that you've all posted, I'm going to call out Bonnie right now. As a leader, as a teacher, she put in here, I'm proud I'm reviving this plan I thought I had completely killed. I love plants. Like, I've got into plants because of quarantine probably, but I would bring this up later and connect in that way. So
I agree.
These were so cute. I loved them.
Okay, so this one, oh my goodness, this one by Amanda Sandoval, I absolutely love this. So if you don't already know or follow Amanda Sandoval, you need to, because she's amazing. And when I shared about this at that first conference, I was like, oh, I just love her. And I kept saying her name over and over. And since then, we've connected more on Twitter, and she's just wonderful. She's killing it. So what she shared that I adjusted it for working with adults. And so there's the version that is here that is for students. It's linked, but this is if you're working with adult learners. I've adjusted it. Essentially what it does is it gives you, and so maybe Becky's going to click on that to show you, but it gives you a way in, a process for when you are in a space or a breakout room to actually know what it is that you need to do and how to connect and talk to each other. And so it gives you a way to do that. And so what it does is it gives you the steps. So you turn your mic on, then you're going to finish the following sentence as you're talking. Then you're going to, step 3 is you're writing everyone's names. There's a space to do that at the bottom. And then there's a clickable area for this wheel. And it's not really a wheel. It's like I guess it is, but it's all different kinds of topics that you can discuss. And so it's really wonderful because no two groups are having the same conversations. This one was on New Year questions 2021. And so it's got a variety of questions. If it's taking a while to load, sorry about that. But it has a random wheel, and you spin the wheel and it gives you a random topic or question that you then discuss or talk about. So for this group, it would be the best food you ate last year. Like, I just love it that you don't know that what you're going to get, and then you're learning about each other. It gives you some variety. You could use this over and over, and people will always get something, well, maybe they'll get something different, and they'll have different people in their space. And then it gives you a way to process that information. And so there's stuff down below to do with it. You can use it both with staff and students. And then there's the student breakout document that's linked at the bottom that Amanda had come up with. So there was a different kind of question that was for students. I replaced the wheel with ones that I thought were more appropriate for adults for this one. And then this one is a Would You Rather. If you haven't ever used Would You Rathers, they're a really great way to start. This one's in Jamboard, and there are multiple Would You Rathers. It's simply putting yourself on one side or another, and it makes for a great way to begin a discussion. You can know how people feel about a topic or a general question, and then it can lead to more conversation after that. And then I think this might be one of the last ones. This meme one is awesome as well. So this one isn't me, but I'll give credit once we're yes, perfect. Okay. So Kimberly Vogue, she's awesome. And this one, it's a collection of memes. So if any of you love doing those, like, how do you feel on a scale of, this one, she has collected all the different ones. I mean, not all, but as many of the different ones that are out there. So if you don't want to have to be worrying about making them for yourself, it's already made for you. You can go to her collection. So thank you, Kimberly, because that's awesome. Save you time, and you have a way to do check-ins. And then the other one is a way to begin that I think models what many teachers like to do is some sort of mini hook. And if you didn't know, there are these mini TED Talks that already exist. TED and TED Ed have put those together. So they're just a few minutes long. They're very short. And so if you want those talks from inspiring teachers, that's a subset within those. There are these kind of mini hooks. So if there's something that might apply to the topic that you're going to talk about, that is linked here for you if that would help you to begin getting conversation and getting people talking.
And then this one is just taking any of those ideas or taking a question or a concept, something quick and simple, and utilizing the tools that are already in Zoom or in Meet, where you're not having to bring in anything else, but you just utilize those tools to do a quick multiple choice. It can be anything from how you're feeling to a hook for the instruction or the meeting topic that you're about to go into, true, false. And it's just a way of getting a pulse of the room. So utilize those tools that are already built into the platforms we're using.
So as we move through now, I did a lot of those intro ones, and Becky's going to take the lead here on the body, the main section of the meeting, the main part. And so as we think about, we've now talked about how do you actually get people feeling connected, starting things off where they're perhaps ready to then feel comfortable sharing. And now we're going to move into kind of the more content, the focus of your meeting or your session together. So without further ado, go for it, Becky.
Perfect. And I am seeing there's a question about the Bitly again to join.
Perfect. So I'll put that in while you're talking. You're all good.
Thank you. So the first thing is the instructional framework model. Just like in the classroom, we have an instructional framework that we follow. This is one you could follow in the classroom or with a meeting with other teachers, with staff. And it's all centered around the purpose. So deciding, coming up with your purpose and then demonstrating it, building in time for collaboration. One thing I hear a lot is, well, I shared it at a staff meeting. Okay. Does that mean everyone got it? No. Just like in the classroom, I shared it once. Did my students get it? No. We need to hear it a couple different times. We need to collaborate. We need to coach each other, facilitate discussion around it, and then practice the new skill, new idea, new concept. So this is just a framework model that you can utilize. There's an example in here. And this came from the instructional playbook for distance learning.
I was looking around because I think I have it if you want me to show it.
I know right where mine is, and it's across the room. Yep. Or the distance learning. There we go. Distance learning playbook. Thank you so much.
No problem. And then this one's mine. I'm excited to be, Becky is amazing. So all of hers, every time she talks, I'm like, oh, I learned so much. But this one came from something that we did during our meetings starting last year, and it has continued to have a profound impact on our school and our staff. So I'll just let you click play really quick as long as it'll play. It's a very short video, and then I'll talk about it.
I don't know if I have sound on here.
Oh, good call. Okay, so I'll talk through it. You're going to pretend like you're hearing a really wonderful a cappella choir because it was really sweet. And when you watch it, you'll hear it. So they're singing together. They came, this is when we were in person, obviously, but we have used this later when we were not in person. So our music department created other videos that they have shared out with staff. We'll play portions of those at the start. We'll invite students to meetings that will share something at the beginning. They'll either sing or there'll be some musicians that will play. And having this at the start of a meeting or having it during the course of a meeting to help prompt a particular discussion, it helps the staff to focus on what is really important. So if what we are there to do is to help and improve and support students and student growth, then I think we need to bring them in often to help remind us why we're there. Sometimes we get lost in some of these more challenging conversations or discussions as we have the work to do, but the more we can bring in students, display what they're doing, display student work, and showcase the teachers that were there to help bring that about, you then have a different feeling during the course of your meetings or your sessions. So it's really changed things for our staff a lot.
It's a celebration at every meeting. What better way to start? I like that a lot.
And then for this one, oh, sorry, Becky,
you're good. No, I love it.
So for this one, this has been talked about a decent amount here there was an article that I had written that it came out in, but having jobs and using those jobs during the course of a meeting that would model the same kind of jobs that you would expect that perhaps teachers are using during a live session or during a virtual session. So actually asking people, your staff members during the course of a meeting to do that same thing that you would want students to do, to say if they see someone else coming in, to welcome them, to let them know what we've been doing so far in the meeting, to have people that a few people maybe that can unmute if there are particular questions coming up, and to have people who help, just like Becky was saying, oh, someone's asked about the bit.ly for this, and I said, I'll link it, right? I would be being the linker for our meeting. So modeling that during the course of a staff meeting, because I think what I've been noticing that holds people up, especially while being virtual or remote, is the process part of it all. Like some of us feel pretty comfortable being with our students and knowing how to navigate, but that process of doing this while being virtual, it's the stuff that holds you up. So have people help and model that with the way that we would ask students to do it in a virtual setting as well.
It also takes going from theory to practice. So I can sit there and tell you having roles is really helpful. But if I model it and I actually have roles during the meeting, then it makes it not so out there and odd. It's like, oh yeah, we did this. It was nice. And I can follow the same language. So I like that. This next one is pop-up pedagogy. And what that means is basically, I hinted at it earlier, but you're not just saying something once and assuming that everyone gets it. If there's something important to share, if we're in a staff meeting and a big change is about to happen, or we're about to shift in one way or another, make it pop up. Like it pops up on your web browser when you go into certain sites, the videos pop up, or my greatest example is on Instagram. All those ads pop up for stuff. What was that ponytail thing? There was like a ponytail thing.
Ponyo, yeah.
Ponyo, yeah.
It popped up so many times I bought it.
Yeah, she did, because it kept popping up. And then she told me about it and it started popping up on my Instagram. It still pops up because I've not bought this thing, but I'm sure it's going to pop up enough times that I'm going to dive in and be like, I need to buy this Ponyo because it's popped up. It's in my face so much. Pop-up pedagogy is the same thing. If we're shifting practices, we're trying something new, or it's just a big announcement, send it in an email first. Add it to a newsletter. I added in my newsletter template from last year in here. You can utilize, I used a different one this year. But get it out there many times so that by the time you get to that meeting or that lesson, if it's with students, by the time you get to it, it's not the first time that they've heard it. They're willing to buy in because it's been said so many times that it's like, yep, I'm ready. I know what you're talking about. I've seen this. Saw this pop up on Instagram so many times. I know. So pop-up pedagogy is a go-to. It's beneficial for teachers, for students, for everyone.
I thought that one was so interesting, Becky, because I often worry like, oh, am I repeating myself too much, especially for staff members? And this helped me learn something different. Yeah.
If it's a big thing, if it's something we need to take with us, I don't think you can say it enough. And if you are saying it too much, people will tell you. They'll say, yeah, you said that 500 times, we got it. But at least they know it's important. You have to walk your talk and you have to share what you believe. So you can never say it too much. Better to say it too much than not enough, right?
Agreed.
This next one's a book study or book club. Engaging in PD throughout your meetings is really helpful, but we don't always have the time for it. So we don't have enough time for our entire staff to maybe engage in a book study. So instead, what you could do is have a portion of your staff engage in a book study if they choose to. It can be an optional PD, professional development. And then they can take what they learn and come and share it in tidbits back with the staff. And you can do that with more than book studies, but then you're engaging other teachers, you're building up leadership, and you're supporting in that role of not being the sage on the stage, but allowing teachers to come in and share what they've recently learned or tried on in their own classroom. So I put an example of a book study that I'm currently working on with a couple of different teams across my district, and you're welcome to take that and adapt it to any book that you're using for professional growth. This next one in here. Oh, actually, I want to go back and make one really quick point. If you are doing a book study, sorry, I didn't want to forget this, share it out on Twitter. And why I say that is because I shared this one out on Twitter and the author of the book reached out to me and said, this is so cool. Could I come in and do some redesign with you and your team? And absolutely, how cool is that? The author of the book, who is redesigning lessons through TPAC and all of these other technology integrations, is offering his time to just come and sit with us and redesign. So share it out on Twitter.
Awesome.
Worst case scenario, the author of the book's going to click like and move on. But best case scenario, they're going to come and offer their time for free.
I love that. And it totally models a practice also of sharing what you're doing that you would want both for your staff and your students. I absolutely love that. Love it.
Yes. Yes. This next one is escape rooms, and they're kind of the hot thing. I don't think that fad's dying anytime soon. They've been pretty hot live. I don't know if any of you have been to escape rooms. I love them. I have a lot of fun, but since quarantine, haven't actually gone to a physical escape room, and that's okay. They now have virtual escape rooms, and you can go and check these ones out. Mandy Tolan and Carly Mora, posted like 40 different escape rooms that are pre-made to learn a new skill. And what I love about it is that you could actually have staff engage in an escape room to learn how to use a new ed tech tool or to learn a new concept as a staff. It's a lot more fun than just sit here and I'm going to walk you through how to use Google Classroom. Instead, it's go through this escape room, and by the end of it, you have now taught yourself or your team how to use Google Classrooms because you unlocked all the clues. And as you were playing this game, you were learning. So use them with staff, and there's instructions on how to create your own. If you've never tried one, I see Jessica put in there, I've never done one in person or virtual. Go and try it. My hint to you, and this is what stumps everybody, click on everything. It's going to most likely take you to a site, and there's going to look like there's just pictures. Click on the pictures and then go and complete each activity. You can't break it. You have to click everywhere. Think of it like you're trying to break the site and do that thing that everyone tells you not to do, which is be click happy.
Oh man, I was so happy when we were going through this and Becky's like, let's try these out. And I have to say, like, I just haven't, I've seen them. I've seen people present on them. I don't know that I had used them that much. And then I'm going through and she's like, no, just click it. Just click it. So that I'm going through and she's going through it so fast. So I just learned like, okay, she's right. I can't break it. Let me click on every single thing. And then we were talking it through. It was really quite interactive and fun. And I think sometimes, right, it models, there might be moments of frustration. You're like, but I don't know what it is. But if you're not getting to a place where you're asking questions and you're forced to maybe talk or ask other people, we got some collaboration happening. And it's only when I think you're scratching your head the most that you start to learn, right? If you knew everything, why would you need that in your meeting or in a space, right? If you already knew it. So it pushes us and it models what we would want, that kind of interactive learning and growth from students. Right?
Productive struggle all the way. I love it. The next one is a jigsaw activity, and Dr. Elliot Aronson gives you the 10 steps on how to set up a jigsaw. We put this in here, and then recently in one of my grad school classes, we were talking about different ways. I'm losing exactly what we were talking about, but it was using technology in meaningful ways with our students. And he said that now that he's virtual and he teaches high school, when he introduces the syllabus, instead of that first day going through the syllabus, he has now broken it up into a full jigsaw activity. And so he gives students different parts of it. They have pieces they have to fill out. It's a slideshow that eventually comes together. They come back, present, write out what they learned from each other. By the end of it, his students are more aware of what's happening in his syllabus and what they're about to engage in than if he were to just walk them through the syllabus and then say, do you have any questions? He's a high school science teacher and makes life so much fun for his students. I would love to be in this class, but you can do jigsaw virtually by just utilizing breakout rooms.
Love that. Love that.
And then think, pair, share. Think, pair, share. I don't know why I thought this was just elementary, probably because we live in think, pair, share world. Like that's been said so many million times in my life. It's natural, but apparently it's not. Everybody should be doing think, pair, share. But you can do them using breakout rooms. And the big thing that when I'm working, especially with K-2 teachers, that we talk about is time constraints. And I'm not saying that you don't have enough time. I'm saying when you put students in a breakout room, if they are 6 years old and you plan on that breakout room being 5 minutes long, it's not going to happen. So instead, when we do think, pair, share with our younger grades, we'll say, okay, you've got 60 seconds. And then you bring them back. And that's okay. They don't need to finish their conversation. Leave them wanting a little bit more, but also knowing that our younger students need to learn how to have conversations. And it's going to happen through modeling. So those are still applicable with students, and we should be practicing them as a staff in our team meetings, our staff meetings. Oh, and then I put it here, an example of how you could utilize this with staff. So I tend to think, pair, share, and I think very student friendly. I think, oh, we need sentence stems, all of that. But with staff, you can ask questions such as, how are you talking about our technology, identities, and training staff? Or how are we? And get a vibe for how everyone's feeling. Send them out into a breakout room. Send them out with this quick paragraph discussing what is techexpertise, or what is a techexpertise, and then saying, how do we identify with this? How do we support?
Okay, this one came out of working with Becky on a few sessions, and we talked a lot about best ways to actually make groups. So if you are trying to trying to do what Becky was talking about, have breakout spaces, have things where you're making groups. You can certainly do things where you are creating groups that are automatic. And sometimes that's going to work very nicely. One thing that I ended up recently doing that has saved my life as a teacher that I'm also going to be doing with staff is that what if I want them to be, let's say, making a Flipgrid or watching other people's Flipgrids that they've already made, or doing something where they're analyzing something from other people, instead of pre-making the groups, my new thing is I make the groups within either Meet or Zoom, wherever you're giving your classes, and then the group that they're with, those are the people they're going to watch on this other thing. It saved me some time. If you are going to pre-make groups, it's really wonderful to do it in Jamboard. And the reason why we gave you this is you can pre-make these groups. You have them there. So you've got your either 4, 3, 5, however many people. And then I keep those. So that was the epiphany from Becky was I keep it. It has my students for that period. I'm in high school. And then I duplicate it and then I move it around and change it up so then I know that they're with different people. If it's staff people, I know they're with different people depending on what we need or what we're working on. So it allows me to see, oh yeah, they've already worked together and now I'm going to move it. And we have colors here. The colors can denote whatever you need them to. It may be people from differing departments, different grade levels. It could be personality types if you're following Can We Talk? But for whatever reason you can be using, the colors hopefully should denote something for you and then help you start to switch around who's in what space and what group.
It's especially helpful for when you get that comment, because I know I'm not the only person who heard from students, I'm with so-and-so again. You always put me with so-and-so. I can actually go back, or I could go back if I was using this in the classroom and be like, oh, ooh, you're right. You have been with so-and-so every single time. And in my head, that made sense why you were with them. But I can see for you, we need a break. So it does help to save them. And
I think often providing something like this during the course of a meeting, for me as a teacher, it would be so wonderful to go somewhere, have my admin or have my district staff using something like this. Then at the meeting, they share out and they're like, so then you can also use this in your classroom. You then felt what it felt like to use it, and you can then use it with your students. And just modeling that, I think, is such a valuable practice. If we really want our staffs to be doing something, then our meetings need to be conducted like a session in a classroom.
Definitely. I keep clicking the same link. All right.
Okay. Everything is clickable. It's all good.
Everything.
You can't break it, right, Becky? You can't break it.
Nope.
And then one of the teachers that I love observing at my own school does a really great job of utilizing brain breaks. And at first I was like, oh, I love this term. And now I'm seeing it more and more and more. And so it's just this idea of having a quick moment of pause and incorporating that into a meeting to model what you would do in a classroom is wonderful. Whether it's a quick video, some music, having some movement of some kind, something to make you laugh. And if you're seeking ideas for what you could do for those brain breaks, there's some fun videos that are posted to TikTok, some great ones of 25 teachers to follow on TikTok that might be a great moment of levity or pause, or maybe it aligns with what you've been talking about, but brings it to you in a different way. The teachers that I observe do a really nice job of maybe it's playing a commercial or playing something in a different language if they're a language teacher that then has everybody do a dance or a song, right? Like we ask our students to do it. Our staff should be modeling the practice of if we're sitting for an hour, come on, we've got to get up at some point and do something, right?
Definitely. And if we could see you all right now, we would have stopped a few times and had you get up and move. But instead, you would just watch us dance.
Yes.
All right. So this last section we're going to get into, once you've gotten through getting to know each other and you make sure that that's included in every meeting, then you've gotten through the meat of your meeting, the bulk of it, it's time to close. And this is a way of collecting data. It doesn't need to be a quiz, right? But collecting data on where is everybody? What are they feeling? How are they feeling? What have they gained from today's staff meeting? If you ever walk away from a meeting that you're leading with teachers and you're like, I wonder what they took from that?
Oops.
That is a big oops. Yeah, right. So we should leave every session knowing, like, here's what they took from it. Here's what we need to go over again. Oh, I think I skipped one. Maybe I didn't. Nope, I didn't. I got excited. So
You did. Okay, so this one is wonderful. It's from Sarah Landis, and she's great. Her stuff is awesome. She is someone that when I follow her on Twitter, I like every time I'm like, oh, I'm going to save that. I'm going to save that. So she has one of the things that she likes to do is you can choose a GIF to then put in for how you're feeling. So that would work really well if you are on like a shared slide deck or a Jamboard or some way to then display that. And then people then put how they're feeling at the end of a session. So using pictures or GIFs to display how you're feeling. Hopefully you're feeling better than that at the end of a session. But if people weren't, you'd want to know, like maybe we need to revisit this, do something. So the next slide I think has yes, so it would show then how you were feeling, right? If it was displayed and different people in a group could potentially share out how they were feeling at the end of it. I hope they're not a 3 at the end of the session.
But I want to know how you all are feeling.
Yeah.
What are you? A 1, 2, 3, or 4? Put it in the chat.
Yeah, good question. Good. Yeah, I mean, you are where you are. That is what I always say. So it's not a bad thing that they are feeling any feelings. I want them to be able to share with me. But I hope that what I have provided to the session does not in any way lead to them feeling some of those ones. I hope that I have alleviated some of that. But if I haven't, I'd want to know so I could help, support, correct, fix, adjust, pivot.
Or know that people came into the meeting potentially feeling a 3. So what they gained from the meeting probably wasn't a whole lot. They're probably still in a 3. Or if I'm in a glass case of emotions. I really like that one. But it's true. We get that way.
I agree.
I'm seeing, okay, we've got some 4s. Oh my God.
Aw, thanks, Shannon.
You make me so happy. I say some, there was 1, but that 4 made me happy. So I'm going to.
She's the power of 100 people.
I'm a 1 right now, so I'm feeling it. All right.
I haven't heard of this one before you shared it, Becky. So I'm glad. Take it away, please.
Yeah. And I love that you have, like, this is almost every meeting. I almost didn't put it in here because I feel like I've heard this too many times. I've done so many triangles, squares, circles, but I've done it so much because it's effective. And so basically, you don't even have to give people a sheet of paper. If we're doing it virtually, it's giving them a Jamboard. And I do this in a lot of my meetings where you first jam or first frame, you put on a triangle and you ask them to share 3 important points that they learned during your session or during your meeting. And then the next one is a square. What is something that squared or agreed with your thinking? Something that was like, yep, I'm good with that. And then finally a circle. What's something that's still circling in your head? And this is where you get people thinking beyond just critiquing. It's like, this is still circling. And usually 99% of the time when I get my feedback of the triangle, circle, square, the circle never just says like 1 bullet point. They always explain their reasoning. This is still circling because X, Y, and Z. So it's really helpful to utilize this method at the end of any session, training, meeting, any of that.
Love it. Okay. And I just wanted to acknowledge we have people from all over that are posting in the chat. So welcome to everyone. If you need to watch this back, you certainly can. So I just wanted to make sure that I acknowledge and welcome that there are so many people coming in from all over the world. It's exciting to see. So one of the things that I absolutely love is ending things with one word. This session was actually done well before the 1-word challenge of 2021, but it aligns so perfectly with that. But really asking people to do a 1-word summary or a 1-word takeaway, it is so quick, but it's really powerful. And if it's a group where you can unmute or you're there in a space where people can say it, there's something to hearing everyone's voice. If you're unable to do that, it's really quite powerful also to have people put those in the chat and then you say them aloud. So if we were going to ask you, you could start to put those in as we close this session. We have a few more things, but what would be a one-word summary or a one-word takeaway for you from our session today? It helps us to know what are the things that were most meaningful to you. Maybe how do you feel about it? It could also be like a biggest takeaway, something that you might want to implement. So in one word, and we'll let you mull that over. Oh, I love that. Onward. I love that. I'm putting that on there. Love that. So your takeaways, right? And doing that, using that as a consistent way to speak at the end of a meeting, I think can really help people to start to hone in on how am I interacting with what I've just heard. So I absolutely love doing it, and it's quick, and it's a really nice summary statement.
Yeah, the one word just adds that extra challenge to it as well. So I like that. Fantastic.
Isabel.
Innovation.
I love that. Rena, that's awesome. Innovation. This is great. I loved Erin said reflection. Love it.
Definitely. Keep putting those in there. We have just a few more resources for you. This one we did put last because I feel like this is the most commonly used. It's a feedback form, and we are going to ask you to fill out feedback on our session. But it is helpful when you use Google Forms for feedback because it automatically populates all of the responses into a sheet. You can use that for data collection on your end. The biggest thing I'll say here is I don't recommend ending every single session with staff or with students using a feedback form. It gets repetitive and it's not inspirational, which is another word. Inspirational is in there. So just keeping that in mind, there is a time, there's a place, and there's also a time and place to not use them. So we did put an example in here. If you've never played with Google Forms, it's great and helpful. I recommend trying it out, just not for every single one. So that's in there. And then we do have our feedback form because we are, we want to always improve ourselves. We would love it if you would all go in and fill out our session feedback. So we'll get that link in here for you all. But give us some feedback. Let us know how you felt about the session and everything. I'll put it in there right now so you can do that. But otherwise, we just want to thank you all so much for joining us and ask any questions that you have in the chat. We're here to answer, and hopefully this has inspired you to go and try on some new strategies or just given you some new tools.
Yeah. Yeah. If there's anything that I love it. Thank you for sharing all your one-word takeaways. Those were great. Oh, sorry. That was me and Becky at the same time. We were high-fiving, putting it up at the same time. But this really did, just in close, it really did come about because we continue to think about, no matter what position you are in your educational institutions, no matter what position you are, the idea is that we should all be modeling the same practice, right? So whether you are a classroom teacher, whether you are a support person in a classroom, whether you are a student, right, that is maybe older with other students, whether you're an admin, whether you're at the district level, the way that you conduct yourself should follow the same practices that you would want to model for other people. And so our hope is that that's what we're doing, is that in every space that we're in, we're modeling quality expectations and engagement expectations so that people leave going, oh, not just that you love the content of what we went over, but that you love the way that it was presented. So then you have a way to do things in other groups that you're in and that you're inspired. So I'm so glad. Yay. I'm so glad it will help you for future meetings. So if you found this helpful, or if you're watching it back, please feel free to share it out. You could share it both with admins, with teachers, with whomever you think would be useful at your own schools or institutions. And we're so happy that you're all here. So thank you so much for coming to this session today.
Thank you. Bye.
We should probably do a closing video, Becky.
We should. Let's do it. Why not?
Okay. I said bye and then, all right, let me find a good one for an outro. Because, that's what we do. Thank you for coming. How's that? Do you like that? Abed's laughing at me in the background. I'm trying to find a good one.
We need the best.
All right, I'll put my own child. All right. Thank you for coming, everyone. Bye.
Thank you for joining us at this Global GEG event. You can watch this recording as many times as you want. Visit our website or Twitter for more information. Don't forget to join our Google group. Don't forget to fill out the feedback form. Thank you for joining us at this Global GEG event.